That is Andrew Tate, self-proclaimed billionaire.
I'm already a billionaire.
And the most Googled man on the planet. This is me, Mark Tilbury, a self-made multimillionaire, traditional businessman and investor who leads a completely different life. And here are 10 things Andrew Tate shared with me on my podcast, Strike It Big, that I want to give my perspective on as someone that has achieved wealth in a completely different era.
If I carry on with the trajectory I'm carrying on, they're going to put me in jail because I'm too influential. If they lock me up for some insane bullshit, I didn't do it. And if they say I killed myself, I didn't kill myself either. It's all a fucking lie.
You could say this statement aged like a fine wine, as only a few days after he told me this, he got arrested along with his brother Tristan. This is really split in the comment section. Some people think he said this because he knew the authorities were closing in on him, and other people believe the Matrix sent their agents because Tate has become too powerful. Whatever you believe, it's certainly true that we live in a world where what's right and what's wrong is determined by large tech companies and algorithms, and that really frightens me. People need to be exposed to both sides of a story so they can decide for themselves what's actually true. Andrew also talks about how these social media algorithms are like echo chambers. Every time you go on Facebook or YouTube, you're being fed specific content from the algorithm based on who the tech thinks you are. It reinforces opinions people already have, and sometimes drives them too far left or too far right wing. Is it really any wonder that we're more politically divided than ever before in history? In 2016, a company called Cambridge Analytica worked for the Trump campaign and used their influence and data to manipulate political views on Facebook. I consider my content pretty clean, certainly not as controversial as Andrew Tate, and I even woke up one morning to find that my Instagram account had been banned. I couldn't believe it. So, do I think Andrew Tate is guilty? The simple answer is, I don't know. But what I do know is that the people that toss innocent until proven guilty in the trash as soon as they don't like the person arrested or charged are the ones we should be worried about. They are too manipulated by the echo chambers and the new digital world we live in. Just imagine you were falsely accused of a crime. I bet you wouldn't like to be judged before any evidence was actually revealed.
I truthfully believe that the universe is a very giving place, and that if you actually really want something, you can have it.
I had a mentor named Dave who taught me that entrepreneurship is all about creating value in other people's lives, and profits are the reward for doing so. Everyone thinks they're trying, but not everyone is. I had to sacrifice weekend parties, nice restaurants, and a lot of comfort when I was younger to get where I am today. On days when the sales were poor, I actually slept in the shop because I didn't have enough money to buy gas for the drive home. I remember waking up feeling groggy in my shop with a blistering headache and getting to work the moment my eyelids opened. It's not easy. Nothing meaningful ever is, because if it was easy, you wouldn't value it. Not everyone needs to be so intense, but if you really want something, you need to have laser focus and be willing to sacrifice a lot of other things in order to get it. I started this YouTube channel on the belief that anyone can become rich as long as they work hard and follow the tried and tested principles I teach online completely for free. That's why I agree so strongly with Andrew on this point.
Female nature is, if they find a man of high enough status, that they're happy for him to have multiple women.
Okay, so with this, I understand that he's making an evolutionary point. However, in modern day society, I don't agree this is the best way for men to get ahead. First off, I know that looking after one woman is hard enough, let alone multiple. But seriously guys, if you're hyper focused on getting multiple girls, you're wasting your precious energy that could be used acquiring money and power. I understand that Tate is saying if you're already rich and powerful enough, your lady will be happy for you to see other women. But let's define happy. Tate points to the fact that kings have often had multiple women throughout history, and it's something we shouldn't be opposed to in the modern day. However, there was a clear threat of violence or even execution if a woman was to step out of line back in the day. This just doesn't really exist now in a loving relationship, thankfully. Therefore, we've got to actually ask ourselves, what is keeping these multiple women happy? And the truth is, it's money and status. They don't care about you. If they were offered all of your money and power with a click of their fingers, but the side effect was you drop dead without any risk they'd get caught, they'd probably do it in a heartbeat. Why would they be loyal to you when you're not loyal to them? Now, if you're okay with this definition of happy, then that's up to you. But I know personally, it would disgust me. There is something very special about monogamous relationships between men and women, and having the right woman by your side will make you into the best, most capable and powerful man you could ever be. By surrounding yourself with women that just want power and status, you're actually weakening your circle and pushing away the high value females that could actually add to your life. If you're the type of person that always brags and shows off status, then of course you're going to get a lot of status seeking women. I have a lovely wife and I couldn't be happier. I definitely wouldn't have reached my level of multi-millionaire wealth without her by my side. So I've got to say, Tate, I strongly disagree here.
I can never be poor. My skill set, the people I know, my phone book, my reliability, my reputation. You could take all of my money today. I'll be a millionaire again in 2 weeks.
Okay, so now the polar opposite. I completely agree with this point. The habits you build on the journey to wealth are often as important as the wealth itself. Along the way, you learn from mistakes, learn skills, and establish a reputation that you carry throughout your life. I'm a firm believer of investing in your education and making mistakes when you're younger, as you have more time to recover from them. I've hit rock bottom many times in my life. In my 20s, my business plan was stolen by one of my best and most trusted friends, but every time I got up faster than the time before. I've talked to so many millionaires that have told me if they went broke, they could do it all over again in under half the time. Many would make sure they started investing sooner. By the way, if you want to get a free stock worth all the way up to $1,000 from public.com when you fund your account, then I'll leave a link down below so that you can pick that up.
I think a good life costs about $1 million a month. $500,000 a month is doable.
With this one, there's a lot more to it than first meets the eye. Money is like gasoline. It's great, but only if you know where you're going. There's many things in life that having more money won't improve, like learning languages, building a healthy and strong body, and having meaningful relationships. Even travel doesn't require nearly the amount of money people think it does. You should never sacrifice your health for money. This is something I learned quite recently after I had a traumatic fall down the stairs and a near-death experience. While I was in the ambulance, I started reflecting on my life and how important my health actually is. Without health, you have nothing, and you can't even enjoy the things you have now. If you ask me, a good life is about balance. Some people are so life poor, all they have is money, and others are poor but have rich lives. I notice a huge jump in the quality of my life once I hit around 100k a year. Any more than that and I barely saw a difference, but I'm just not much of a spender, never have been. I'm quite happy with what I have and prioritise my family and experiences, but everyone's different.
I don't own anything. There are cars. A trust in Singapore may own a percentage of a company in Dubai, which may have access to a car that I could borrow, but I don't own anything. And that's because if you own things, they come for you.
I agree, and I think what Andrew's saying here makes sense for someone with tons of money and a lot to lose, but not so much for the everyday person. I've been lucky enough not to make too many enemies, but I've had days when I've woken up and went to the mailbox only to find a letter from someone trying to sue me. It seemed like once I had money, there were more and more people trying to take it from me, like vultures. As I started making more money, I realised that many of the things I owned started to become liabilities. So I think the old saying, more money, more problems, hold some water. But still, I've always been a big fan of accumulating assets that produce cash flow, and I'd rather own many things than nothing at all. I get peace of mind owning an apple tree that grows apples, if you catch my drift. For the everyday person, a limited company should offer enough protection. This will just make sure that if people try to get your money, they could only get what was in that specific company, not take away your personal property. For most people, there's no need to dive into the world of shell companies and offshore accounts.
I believe in every point I make. However, there are points I make in a deliberately aggressive fashion to upset people. Yeah, I do that.
So with this, I see where Andrew's coming from. We live in an attention economy, especially on social media, where the ability to quickly grab people's attention in a competitive environment is more important than ever. I once watched a marketing documentary that said, as people become louder and more outrageous in order to get through the noise, the only way to break through is by being even louder and even more outrageous. A lot of celebrities purposefully commit scandals just to get the world talking about them, maybe before a book or an album release.
Keep my wife's name out your
Tate understands this game very well.
I will not administer CPR unless you're a hot female. This is the reality.
Which I think is the sole reason he has become the most Googled man on the planet. When I got on TikTok, I needed to think of something that would help me stand out and get noticed. So I would wear silly wigs and play these different characters. This helped me to scale to over 7 million followers on TikTok in under a year. So while I think being unique and standing out is good, I think there's other ways you can do it without having to start fights or attract negative attention.
This is what most people don't even understand about the crypto market. It's player versus player. You can only sell it for $10 after buying it for $1 because someone's buying it at $10. Someone is out to lose.
Tate absolutely nailed this point. Crypto is a zero-sum game, meaning that for you to make money, someone else has to lose it. Until you sell, it's just numbers on a computer screen. Most of the coins out there are absolute scams, pumped by people that are out to make a quick buck. Influencers regularly get emailed from these projects offering big amounts of money to promote their shady coin or NFTs. I always ignore these emails because no amount of money is worth selling out my audience or ruining my reputation. My mentor once told me it can take a lifetime to build a reputation, but only a moment to destroy it. So when Tate said that he could make $1 billion in no time with a crypto coin, but refuses to do it, I find this commendable. While I believe in investing a small percentage of your net worth in Bitcoin and Ethereum, I would steer clear from investing in the thousands of random altcoins out there. Speaking of crypto, I've been buying mine on Coinbase, and if you use my link in the description, you'll receive £5 once you sign up and make a trade. Just make sure you store your crypto off the exchange for maximum protection. Tate says that Clown World is over.
Because the last 2 years have been Clown World. Now the real world's back and it's hard to make money again.
And people who made big money on crypto altcoins probably won't again for a fair while. And to be honest, he's probably right. 2020 to 2021 saw a huge amount of easy money pumped into the economy due to the pandemic, but we're just now starting to suffer the hangover. If there's one thing I know about money, it's this. Money gained fast can be lost even faster, but reputation lasts a lifetime. So shame on all of those celebrities who were promoting altcoins and NFTs during the bull market. In my opinion, Andrew Tate's integrity on this point is head and shoulders above those guys.
And that's the problem. As patriotism breaks down, then the whole idea of paying tax just gets destroyed with it. And when a country is not prudent with its finances, like Western nations aren't, it pisses you off.
I agree with Andrew here. For a country to work well, people need to believe in it. With the huge wealth gap, wasted tax and lawlessness, I can see why he thinks the Western world is breaking down. Democracy is hard. Having one leader makes things a lot easier, but it goes against so many of our long-standing values in the West. While I'm not quite as jaded as Andrew is, I do see where he's coming from here. When I was younger, we really believed in and trusted the government. I've always paid my employees and my taxes on time, but I have to say, my view of England and the Western world is really starting to shift in recent years. I'm shifting.
Yeah, well,
I am shifting. I stay here because I consider myself a strong patriot, but it's not perfect.
There's so much money in the world. To be too stupid to generate money, I think is less than 5% of the population. Then you have arrogant and lazy, and these are the two most common.
You know what, Andrew? I agree. If you were to put fleas in a jar, they would easily jump out until you closed the lid. However, once the lid has been closed for over 3 days and then you remove it, the fleas will never jump past the ceiling that was set for them. They have effectively been trained by the system that they were subjected to. What's even more interesting is when these fleas reproduce, their offspring will follow the same example as their parents and never escape the jar. This applies to humans as well. Most people go to work and in the evening just chill out and take it easy, a lot like their parents did before them. Now, would I call this arrogance, laziness, or stupidity? I don't think so. I see them more as victims of the system that need waking up. Everyone has something they can teach you, and once you've been woken up, if you can't see that, then you're definitely arrogant. This is the exact reason I interviewed Andrew Tate, and I feel I got a lot from the conversation. If you want to learn how to use the 2023 recession to get rich, then I'll leave that video right up there, but don't click on it just yet. Make sure to subscribe if you want to grow your wealth. Okay, I'll see you over there.